Teddy.
So I'm just going to grab a pen.
Bianca, you want to join?
You can if you want.
The idea is to analyze habitat from all the basic main point of view, like marketing principles, and try and come up with a strategy for habitat as to where you can, and based on what you're telling us and based on what we see regarding the backpack market in general.
Okay, so you're visiting other hostels to
Yeah, that's the idea. Plus, we're doing like most of the research is going to be online because a lot of times we don't have permission to see go into hostels and compare them to yours.
And it's a particularly secretive industry as well.
Yeah.
Is that like to that much?
Yeah. Like because in the entire, so like we have a lot of groups in class. There's just one more group doing another backpack. So like apart from that, we're just trying to understand how you guys market your product and how you price and stuff like that. I just had a question. Could we record the final right, just in case. And another thing was these are the basic questions. So you can go through them or like you can ask them.
You can ask them, it's fine.
Yeah, it would probably be best to start.
I think so.
And then just
First thing would probably be just the background of the company, like when did it start? As this, yeah.
So Habitat's about 6 years old. The owners of Habitat purchased it. It was already another hostel, but that hostel was in receivership. Had extraordinarily low occupancy and was run in a completely different manner. So that the owners purchased the building and the business, and they're developers, so they have no experience in this industry, but they read a lot and they're really hardworking people and created Habitat from there. So I guess the idea of the wording of Habitat is that they wanted it to be an environment for people to come and feel like they're in a home, and also we're an eco hostel, so that was part of the basis of the Habitat as well. So we're carbon neutral, and everything that we do is based on giving back to not only the community but to the environment and making sure that our impact on the environment is as little as possible for us as a business.
Okay, so the sustainability aspect is extremely
it's one of our main drivers, so that we use that as part of our marketing.
Okay.
And our differential, separating us from the rest of the hostels. The backpacking community can be not so concerned about that, and we wanted to make sure that that was our point of difference, as well as having great music, live music as well. So.
All right. That pretty much answers the second question. Because you would, and this was something like, how would you like your company to be viewed by customers, like in terms of like what like your personality as a hostel?
Our personality, I think warm and welcoming is really important to us. We want our aim with everything that we do as far as our events and that is to make sure that the person that is travelling by themselves feels really included and inclusive in everyday activity and not confronted when they walk into a building that's got 200 people in it.
Yeah.
So we want them to feel that. We want them to have fun and have a really great experience, a really unique Melbourne experience, so that they really feel like they're in St Kilda. And we try and do that with all our events. They're based around St Kilda venues and products and that sort of thing.
And in terms of competition, like what do you like? Who do you consider to be your competitor as such in this market in Melbourne? Do you look at it from? Do you only look at St Kilda?
No, we look at everywhere, and we look at internationally as well. There's some really great hostels around, such as Generator in Europe and that sort of thing. So I look at those sorts of things weekly as far as what the market is doing. But I don't look at them as competition. I run the business as we're leading the way.
Alright.
We look at them just to see what everyone else is doing, but it's not to drive us on what we should be doing. It's more that just to see where everyone else is at. It's hard to say. So I certainly don't look at like Base, who's a hostel that's near us. I don't look at them as our competition per se. They're a really different hostel for a different market. So I work with the owner, the general manager there, and we talk a lot about what we're doing. But I don't feel that they're competing against us for clientele.
They are different.
They have a much younger demographic than we do. Most of our clientele is 25-ish and above. Theirs would be 18, I would say, and they have a really strong bar.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so people go there because they've got a great bar, and in the summer that's one of the busiest bars in Melbourne. We don't want that kind of experience, and we want our guests to come and we take them volunteering down to, with the Eco Centre and Conservation Victoria, and so we try and think that we do those sorts of things rather than base it around just a drinking culture. So, and there's a market for both of us, you know. People want that and people want this, so
And this, like the Eco Centre and everything, like how do you plan that out, like your sustainability in your environment?
So what we do with the Eco Centre is we do a couple of volunteering programs. In the winter it dies off a bit because it's too cold for anyone to go out. But we take guests down to the Ferry Penguins down at St Kilda Pier, and we're guides down there. So we stop people from taking flash photography and all that. So that's in conjunction with the Eco Centre. They supply us with the jackets that we have to wear, and they train us. And we also do a thing called nerdling, where it sounds so boring, but you go to the beach. So it's a good way of hanging out at the beach, and you count the plastic pellets that are washed up on the sand, which are killing all the wildlife down there. So we take our guests doing that, and it might sound really boring, but the guests have the best time because we're on a beach in Australia, you know. So that's how we market it. That sort of thing is we take music, we give them free lunch, and so it costs us to do that sort of thing, but we think it's a really great experience for them to do. So.
And in terms of like these kind of activities, like what is the kind of feedback you get from your customers?
Oh, they love it. Yeah, they love it. We get exceptional feedback from people's experiences. I think that the people that go on those sorts of things are doing it because they're interested in it. So we don't force someone that's sitting by the fire that doesn't want to do it. We don't force them. We have a sign-up sheet. We only take 10 people, and they're people that really want to do it. So it's good. I think that's one area that we probably don't market outside of our business very much. Once you're here, you know about it, but on our website it says volunteer with us, but it doesn't go into it in such great detail and show the experience so much. So that's certainly something that I think we could work on. Whether it draws people to us, I'm not so sure.
And you earlier you were talking about being carbon neutral. Like, what are the steps that you take in order to?
So, all our lighting is lower than. So we're trying to go for an EarthCheck accreditation. So with our lighting, our electricity, our water use, all of those things, we're below their minimum standards. So we're doing really well. And the only thing that we're not doing so well, which we've improved about 30% this year, is our waste to landfill. So we've taken some big steps to change that, and we've altered it by about 30% so far today, which is great. But we've probably got another 30% maybe to go. It's such a big thing, and that's educating the staff, housekeeping, the guests. But the guests are European, so they're usually pretty savvy on that sort of thing. So.
Most of your market is European?
Absolutely, yeah. So UK, Scandinavian countries, Swedish, European, would be, and Australians 90% of our market. Really
Australia is
90%.
Yeah, all together, those all together. Yeah, not 90% Australians. No, we wouldn't want that to be our demographic.
Do we have some numbers on it?
I do. It's all on my thing. I can forward some of that to you because I track that every week. I report on where we're at, but I know that the top 5 is always Australian, UK, Scandinavian. Every now and then a Korean or a Japanese. But we are really small market for that side of the world.
Like, I don't know if you're aware already, but like in the past few years, like there's been a really solid increase in the amount of Chinese Taiwanese
Yep.
in Hong Kong,
But not for us.
backpackers coming, not at all. Like it hasn't.
Absolutely not. We may have gone from 0
Yeah.
to 1 or 2
Yeah.
people a week.
Yeah.
So it's negligent. So for us, the experience of this type of hostel, I don't think is quite what they're after just yet. I think maybe in 5 years' time, the Chinese backpacking will be more developed and they will be more exposed to sharing this sort of environment and the events and things like that. And St Kilda as well doesn't attract as many as the city does. So I worked in a hostel in Elizabeth Street for many years. We probably had 60% Korean clientele there and Taiwanese. So we had a huge Asian market there, but here it's completely different. So the Asian tourists don't come outside of the city as much. They tend to stay in that area. So we haven't, I go to conferences all the time and they talk about the Chinese market. For us, it hasn't.
Have you tried to look into it? Suppose from your product perspective, have you looked into maybe adapting the product for the market?
Well, I think if we had to adapt our product, we would then isolate the clientele that we have. So at the moment, so I'm thinking, so we've had many discussions, me and the owner, about that and what we would need to do if we wanted a large Chinese clientele here, and we would have to change the business model that we have, really. Because at the moment we find that the clientele from that area don't participate in the events that we have, and we have events every night. Yeah, so we have live music, or we have games like trivia, or every single night except for Saturday nights. We have something on, and they don't enjoy that experience so much. So for us, I think we would have to not do that. It would just change the way of us running. And I think there are other businesses that maybe cater for that at the moment better than what we do. Such a space in the city, which is a really, it's almost a hotel / backpackers. It's really on that fine border. So I think it's certainly something we're always keeping an eye on and looking and thinking about. But we don't want to change what we're doing at the moment to accommodate that clientele, because we think that if we did, the Europeans would not want to be here.
All right.
Because they want the events, they want that getting to know different people and that interaction. It is different.
Did you notice that there was the global financial crisis in Europe? That
Sorry?
there are forming less Europeans now?
Sorry, I didn't
The
understand.
global financial crisis, do you notice that there are still forming less Europeans, or did you notice it at all?
There's a shift in Irish. We have very few Irish people coming at the moment. Very, very few, whereas before they were everywhere. It's still massively UK, and we actually got a lot of Italians and French because of the global financial, because there's no work there. They're all on working holiday visas, so 75% I think of our guests would be working holiday visa carriers, so it's a really strong market.
And apart from that, do you see any changes that have happened, apart from this Italian and French people coming, over the past 6 years? You've been here since the beginning?
No, I haven't. I've only been at this hostel for 2.5 years, but I've been running hostels for 15, so I've seen a lot of changes.
Okay.
I think the expectations of all guests have dramatically increased. My goodness, yeah. As a comparison, maybe 5-6 years ago, what did backpackers expect from a hostel? They didn't expect much, really. They just wanted a really cheap bed. So now they still want a cheap bed, but they want free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, free events. Their expectations of what they get for it, I think, are more. So in comparison to how much harder we work to create a business to the increase in the rates, we're certainly working much harder for not much increase in the rates. Because they still want to pay backpacker rates.
And
most definitely.
They want much more.
They want so much more. So and that's just as basic expectations. Maybe 5 years ago, the internet cafe, we would make $100,000 a year from an internet cafe within a hostel. You don't make it. you can't even charge for it now. So it's a free thing on our business. So you have to make that money up somehow. But you can't put the beds up, the cost of the beds up that much to combat those.
What are the measures?
So we have to think about what else we can do. Do we get them to stay longer? Is one of our big drives. We really want people to stay longer, and when they do, they might spend more money. We have a really small bar.
Yeah.
It's called a bar. It's just a fridge, really, but that's all we want. So they spend more money on that. I'm so sorry. He's getting back there. I'm just going to ask him to do that later.
Thank you.
Can you not vacuum in here just now? Can you not vacuum in here just now? Sorry, what we're saying.
And how you basically revenue?
Yeah, so we're always thinking about what we do. Sometimes we've looked at taking away the free breakfast, but the cost really is so minimal that it's not worth it. Or charging for the car park because we have a free car park. Do we charge for that now? So we're always looking at things so that we have locker hire. Whereas it used to be free, once they check out, they can store their bags. They don't have to pay, but it's such a small fee. It's $2 for 6 hours. So it's just scraping every little bit back, and we just have to make this a place that people want to come to all the time. So our aim is have really great occupancy all year round. So last year, our low season occupancy was 90%, which is excellent. So certainly that's our aim, is if we can keep it really great all year round. That money...
You still want to go in the low season? Because if it's winter, I can imagine.
Oh, it's so hard to keep people in the winter. So that's why we do a really strong low season marketing of events. So we have really strong events for the 3-4 months of low season. We have prizes every day, which people donate to us. We have events every day. We put big parties on, and we're always doing something to make them go, oh, let's stay another week. They've got this on. Let's do that. So next month we've got baby koalas coming and little baby kangaroos and that sort of thing. So that's something that they'll see in a month that we're going to have that, and hopefully yeah, it's a bit gross, isn't it? That's so gross though. So we're always trying to do that to him. And last year it worked so well. We started our low season campaign earlier, so we started in April. We usually started in May, and it seemed to stop people leaving and keep them, and then they stayed. And if they can get work, so we help them find jobs. So if they can get work here, then they'll stay here, and we keep the rates low enough that they don't want to go into an apartment with 30 other people and all of that sort of stuff. So it's really hard.
And is it competitive? Like are other backpackers doing
Oh my goodness,
how,
So I think that as far as events go, we're probably one of the few that put so much effort into it. So our running costs would be much higher than a lot of other hostels. But the rates this year particularly have just dropped so low in this area. It's crazy. $18, which we would never drop to, but that's really cheap to pay for a bed with breakfast and events and clean, so it's hard to compete against that. And because when people are looking online, all they're looking for, regardless of what you have, they look at the price. That is the first thing that they will look at, and the extra stuff is. So hopefully when they get here, they realise that they're paying maybe $2 more, but they're getting so much more, so they'll stay longer. That's my plan. That's what I hope happens.
You were talking about campaigns, that you did a campaign earlier this season, to get the.
Yeah, so we're doing it now.
So what do you mean? What do you do?
So we theme each month. So next month, for example, is Environmental Month. So every day we'll do something that's based around either what we do from the environment or bringing the animals into the hostel. So we'll take people planting trees or we'll do lots of different things like that. So, or this month was live music month. So we've had live bands at least 2 or 3 times a week. And we hire our staff so that they are cross-skilled as well. So we hire staff that are musicians or cyclists, or they can offer a bit more. So they participate in the events, and that adds a bit of depth to the business as well, I think. So.
I guess that's the personal touches.
Yeah, that's right. And you should, the guests, when they see, say, for example, none of them have got any musical musical skills at all at the moment. But some of our staff are just amazing. They write music, they're in bands, they record, and they come up on stage, and it changes the way people view us as a business, but also them as people, and it becomes a real personal interaction, and that's what we want. We want personal interactions, and people really like us, and not just have that check in, check out. Here's your key, and all that. I want the staff. I expect the staff to engage with the guests and be part of the experience that they have here.
And how do you motivate your staff, like in terms of like now that you have certain expectations?
We pay them really well. We do. We pay them above award. All our staff get paid above award, and we actively train them for. I will put out an email and say, look, Becky is putting out on these courses. Have a look at them if any of you want to do them, because the more trained they are, the better it is for me, or the business. So. And better for them when they leave us. We don't expect that they're going to spend 20 years working for us, but while they're here, we want them to commit. We want them to grow, and we want them to walk away feeling like they achieved something here. So Pam, for example, is going to do an events management course while she's here, and she helps with the events and that sort of thing. And we'll pay for that and help her with that. And that's what we want. We want all our staff to do and learn more, and if it can relate back to us, then that's good for us. That's good, isn't it?
And in terms of the interaction of like the staff and the customers, like how crucial it is. Like I'm guessing like hotels and stuff have a very minimal interaction and it's very formal.
Yeah.
So over here, how is the interaction? Like is it like personal? How do you?
Yeah, we would hope so. So I mean, we have 3 different shifts. So you have the morning shift, which can tend to be just check-ins and check-outs, and that. So the next shift is the afternoon shift into the evening. That's far more social. Hardly anyone checks in. The guests, as I said, they will get up and sing a song, or play guitars, or do something, or didgeridoo playing, so they interact that way. There's a real fine line though between interacting and becoming a guest. So they need to make sure that they're keeping that professional distance as well. But we also next month we'll have the guests, the staff. So we'll choose an event that they want to take. Get staff guests to, and it's a mystery tour. So they'll get 20 guests together and take them somewhere like bounce, the trampoline place, and they'll take people there that they don't know, and that's part of getting to know the team. They put them on a tram. We don't have a bus, so they go by tram, and that's one way of staff interacting with the guests as well on a different level, rather than just behind the guests.
So how many years usually does staff stay? 2, 3 years?
Pam's been here for 4 years, and so I'm one of the youngest, so I've been here 2.5 years. So Lucas has, once they're here, they tend to stay for a long
Are they
time.
all full-time or part-time?
No, casual. Pam is only casual, but she works 4 or 5 hours, and she negotiated a wage with us, so she doesn't get paid the base casual wage, she gets paid well above that. And that's open to all staff to negotiate what they want and what works for us. She's a great employee, so I want to keep her. So if that works for her, it works for me as well. So
most of your staff's local, like a lot of hostels hire
we don't hire travellers at all. They're always working. Like Australians, not necessarily from St Kilda, but preferably from this area, so they have a knowledge of the area. But that's not the most important thing. But we always hire.
And like for you, like is the idea to showcase St Kilda in a different way, or is it like all of it, like concentrate on Melbourne?
Look, I'm a little bit. It needs to be about St Kilda, really. Melbourne gets enough. Melbourne has so much marketing and tourism money spent on it. And the guests all know Melbourne, so we try and do, so all our events will always be this side of town, and we have really great working relationships with some of the bars and things like that, so we make sure that we take our guests to local bars and local venues if we're taking them out.
We saw like your hashtag of Hotel Barclay or something, like you do a lot of we were watching your...
So even though there are another backpackers, and we take our guests to base as well, so that's why I'm saying I don't feel that we need to stay away from them because they're competition. We work with them, Because they're different, you know, and I think we should support each other.
Yeah.
We're all in the same industry, you know.
Do you, as like backpackers in St. Kilda, view like Collingwood precinct, Collingwood Fitzroy precinct as CBD? You know, you have these backpacker hubs. Like most of them stay either in the city or
Yeah.
Do you view them as competition, like as a collective?
No, they're no different. So, particularly in summer, people come to St Kilda because we've got a beach, even though it's not the best beach.
Yeah, but it's
that sort of thing. So, no, I don't think so. I think there's some really great hostels in the city.
Yeah.
Some really, really good ones. So, but I don't think that stops us from getting
the clientele you
I don't think so. Very
all right. And again, like we saw on your website, like like on your Twitter page, which has been very
Well, we
inactive.
don't use. I hate Twitter to
Yes.
be.
But like you profiled yourself as like the flashbackers,
Yeah.
like you that's on it. Like what do you see as this difference between the backpacker and the flashbacker?
When people say flashback, what we're really saying is that our rooms are really clean and nice. So really, that's pretty much what it is. So our private rooms are really beautiful. They all have wall murals on them like this, which are from local areas. You have a fridge in there, you have tea and coffee, you have ensuite, white linen. It's a really nice hotel room. And so we have 3 different levels of accommodation. That's the top level. The second level is dorm rooms that are smaller, and then this level is dorm rooms that are larger.
All right.
But our rooms are really nice. So there is a difference between a backpacker and a flashpacker. But it really just means the standard of and cleanliness of the rooms. Really, to be honest. So
You use flashbacker term for your private rooms?
I would use it for all our rooms. All our rooms, yeah.
And in terms of like the kind of like in terms of the market that you're getting, we were like there's a lot of domestic backpackers as well, like Aussies who are backpackers. What proportion of the market is domestic?
So our number 1 would be UK, number 2 would be Australian. Australian. So that would be predominantly with our private rooms, because they're coming for an event. So Grand Prix would be 80% Australian, so which is not particularly good for this environment. But on a day-to-day basis, we don't encourage Australians to just come and check in to a dorm room. We're an international backpacker, so you can get because the dorm rooms can be so inexpensive, you can get the wrong type of Australians wanting to stay. If they're just wandering in, if they've booked it for an event and all of that sort of thing, then that's good. They're here for that thing. But there's certainly short-term stays, 2 or 3 days at the most. And we have school groups coming as well. But the Europeans will stay longer, and they're more of a genuine backpacker, whereas the others are tourists. Rather than a backpacker.
And what's like the average length of stay for an international, like a English citizen?
I would say it would be I haven't done that actually for a while, so I would say it used to be 3 or 4 days.
All right.
But I think now it would be 7 to 10. Much longer, yeah.
So event strategy and everything.
Yeah, and also the working holiday. Europeans are coming here to work. They can earn more in a cafe here than they do having a professional job at home, I think, in some economies, particularly Italy. I think they're here for hopefully the changes to the visas don't detrimental to it, but it will be.
The tax.
Well, the tax, as well as they've increased the fees to the visa application, as well as removing volunteering off the second year visa, which is what so many people do. They go and volunteer and work on a farm and they get accommodation and food. So they've taken that off. They can't do that. So that will affect our industry a lot. The changes to the visas.
Yeah, considering your market's completely European.
It will change the hostel backpacking industry quite a lot.
Is the backpacker industry doing something? Like collectively, are you?
Yeah, we had a meeting. A group of us hostels had a meeting with Victorian Tourism, Diane Smith, just this week. And they're putting in a proposal to the government to hopefully. They're the changes that they've decided on. So we would like them to add tourism and hospitality to the second-year visa, increase the age of the second-year visa to 35 even. So yeah, we're advocating really strongly, but people dismiss our industry a lot. The backpacking industry is it's such a big industry, but it's really not rated very highly.
It's worth $4 billion.
It's ridiculous. And the backpacking industry supports an economy like the city of Port Phillip in St Kilda. You know, we hire staff, keep the bars and cafes and restaurants going. It's so important to this area, even though the residents might hate them. It's really important.
They don't get a vote, right?
Pardon?
I think they don't get a vote. So
no, they don't get a vote.
That's why I guess you can afford to buck them. Like in terms of like the events, like you were talking about how a lot of Aussies come during the Grand Prix and stuff. Do you price the rooms differently? Like higher prices?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would have high rates for that room now already.
Okay.
And then I because I would look at it daily anyway, so if it looks, you know, a week out. So people, the leeway for bookings for backpackers is maybe 3 days at the most.
All right.
They don't plan very far ahead. Whereas as someone for an event does. So I can tell a month out if I haven't sold all my rooms on level 3 for the Grand Prix, then my price is too high and I'll start working back from there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. But I hate the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix is not particularly good for us. Because we're full anyway at that time of the year, and we have really high occupancy anyway. And what it means is we push out genuine travelers and stay longer for this 3 days. So on that third day, we have maybe 80% check out. We have to try and get that back. You know, in one day we lose so many people. So they're only here for that. Once the Grand Prix is over, they all go. They don't decide they stay. So it's a real fine line of making sure you don't let too many people book for the Grand Prix and keep your core customers in house.
Well, like that's something I wouldn't expect. Like the fact that the Grand Prix doesn't work for you, rather than
it doesn't. It really doesn't, because we would be full at that time. We might not get the premium rates for the private rooms, but we lose out because we're there empty the next week because we're trying to. You know, or we have to drop them so low the next day after Grand Prix to get people back. They're
And how are you pricing in terms of like what do you look at everyone around you when pricing? How do you like set the price?
Yeah, but it's like a game. My prices fluctuate daily, so I look at my rates daily versus occupancy. So I revenue manage daily, so always looking at what our RevPAR is and should we drop that low, and then look at what the other hostels are doing. And sometimes you'll see them do something crazy and they've dropped to $16. I'm not going to I'm okay being where I am. Or I'll see that they've put their rates up really high and I think, oh, what's on? Is there an event? I'll have a look, and maybe they've just made a mistake, or maybe there is an event that I've missed or something. So certainly look at that.
Is there like a minimum ceiling that you put for yourself, like when not?
$21 would be a minimum. But it's hard to know because it's really important that we have occupancy. So because we rely on the atmosphere, most of our bookings are word of mouth or direct bookings, so that's really important for business like us, rather than going through it at Hostel World or where you pay commission. Paying a commission on a bed that's $21 is really tough.
So you don't get it all?
Yeah, we do. You have to, because they're so powerful within the industry, and that's part of marketing. You hope that people will go to Hostel World, see us on there, then go to our website and book directly. That's what we hope. And we certainly have more bookings come directly to us than any other booking sites combined, which is good.
So Hostel World is your main?
Hostel World, Hostel Bookers are our main, and booking.com.
Yeah, we noticed you're in a lot of internet sites.
Yeah, so I've reduced them a lot. We were on about 30 at one stage, which is ridiculous. So I think we're on about 10 at the moment.
Okay.
That's enough. So, and they all just keep sneaking their rates up, so we're paying more.
But is it important? Like, how important are they in creating awareness and marketing?
You know when it's important. So say on a day, say today, I haven't looked at occupancy today, but say we're at 75% at the moment. I'd be concerned about the occupancy of that thing and think I really want to get it above 85 or something like that. If I drop my rates, which feeds through directly to Hostelworld, we would get within 10 minutes of bookings through Hostelworld for today. So that's how important it is. And 10 beds in a hostel as small as ours, taking bookings, is massive. It really changes our occupancy. That's why they're important. Yeah, no, it's really, really, people are on those sites all the time. And TripAdvisor is good as well. So.
Yeah, I saw you replying to some of the reviews.
Yeah, we're trying to, you have to reply to the bad ones. It's tough, but you have to reply to them.
That way is like, you were pretty active previously, like we saw like until about a year ago on like YouTube and like Instagram and stuff like that. But
we just started Instagram back up again. So we had our marketing, manager here, and she left. And that was part of changing the strategy of the business. It costs a lot to have a full-time marketing person, as you can imagine. So now it's me. So I have just started up Instagram. You would have noticed within the last couple of months. I'm doing it more now, but we did stop it for a bit. It was just too much to do, to be honest. But Instagram and Facebook, we're really active on. Facebook, we're active on. Who knows what that does? We have amazing reach. Our reach on TripAdvisor is more than any other business in this area. And our amount of hits that we get on TripAdvisor is more than anyone else's business, including Novotel and those hotels. So we do exceptionally well with that sort of thing, and our reach on Facebook is more than 1 million. So we have a really good reach on those things. It's hard to quantify what that gives back to you, but you're hoping it gives you some bookings.
I'm sure it does. Like,
I'm sure it does, but you can't track it really.
Yeah, that in general, it's been a contested space, like how much does
and how much time you spend on it and the payback time.
But it's a great way to market, like it's easy and it's low cost.
Well, we don't do any paper marketing or advertising anymore, so that was part of me not wanting to. I don't believe that we need to. People don't carry travel books around anymore. They don't read the TNT like they used to. They read it online, so so we don't do any outside. No, we don't do anything.
Lonely Planet?
No. Well, you can't advertise on Lonely
Oh yeah,
Planet,
but
so
like, have they ever come to you or anything like that?
Not when I've been here. So Lonely Planet kind of folds a little bit as far as their business down here. And they kind of donated all their books to us. But no, I don't really, because of TripAdvisor and all of that taking over that platform a bit. It's really important. We're number 1 on TripAdvisor. That's really important for us. And we get so many reviews on TripAdvisor.
443.
But we get them almost daily. It's crazy. There's so many.
And have you ever heard, like, when you probably speak with customers or something, you talk like, have you ever had customers saying like, we heard about, we read the reviews and we like, you have people actually.
Not so much with reviews, but people will say a friend said, come here.
Word of mouth.
Our word of mouth is really strong. And that's why it's really important to have really great occupancy, because if there's no one here, it can feel really bad. And really empty. There's nothing worse than sitting in the lounge room where there's 2 people that don't know each other. And there's nothing going on. That will make people want to leave and find where everyone else is staying. And they're not going to say, oh, we had the best time there, because they were bored and lonely. So that's why it's really important that you have a great occupancy in our particular business. So a place like Space, which is a different backpackers, that wouldn't matter so much because they don't have they're not based around events and that as such, even though they have the bar, and their bar would be suffering when they're quiet, but it's slightly different.
The bar gets a lot of locals as well.
That's right,
That's actually a really happening bar in general. So I guess it probably feels alive even because of the locals as well.
Yeah, it would be like the other place I ran in the city, the joint bar, which is a local and backpacker bar. So it's a good combo. The locals like to meet the foreigners, and the foreigners like to meet the locals, so it's a good balance.
Is it very important for like your customers to interact with locals and stuff? Like, does it ever come up? Like, or are they happy being there?
Yeah,
Traveller.
they're happy to be amongst travellers. So we take them to bars locally. So we find that particularly UK people like me with other people from home. It's funny when they travel all this way, but that's what they like. You know, they make friends from their own country a lot.
Do you do marketing in London, especially, or some other country?
No, it would just be word of mouth. Yeah, it would be word of mouth. We used to do a lot of that sort of advertising in France. We used to do advertising in a magazine and stuff, but we don't need to anymore. It hasn't changed since we dropped it all. It hasn't changed our occupancy at all. Our occupancy has increased and our direct booking has increased. So it's just what we want.
What about STA? Because of the travel, they have a lot of commission.
25%, yeah, we don't work with them at all. No, we don't work with any travel agents at all. They charge too much money. Yeah. And we don't need them, so Hostel World, as I said, we will need when our occupancy is lower than what I want, because it's really reactive and I see a response so quickly and immediately from what I do on there. So that's why you kind of need them. I hate it that we do, but everyone in this industry is too scared to drop them. Everyone, and particularly some hostels I know at the moment are having a really hard time. It's really important that they're out there so people don't book them. Hostel World has changed what they do so that you can pay more commission to Hostel World to be ranked higher on their website. I hate it. It's such a terrible system.
It's a bit strange.
It was a big thing last year that they introduced a new contract to all the hostels worldwide. So I hate it that I can say, all right, I'm going to give you 25%. I'll be number one on their site for forever. It doesn't mean I'm a good hostel. No, it just means I'm going to pay more. I hate it. So we don't do any of that. We just pay the base commission, which is 12.5%.
And you can just walk in and book a room. Like, you can do that.
Yeah, we have walk-ins. We're not in the best place for walk-ins because we're on that main road. So if you're close to the Ackland Street or in the city, they're your perfect spot. But we still get them because there are hostels kind of around us. So they go from one place to another and get the best price or something.
And do you package your accommodation with other? Have you tried packaging the hostel with a tour product or something like that? In terms of, or do you just leave options? You have brochures and stuff for a lot of things?
So we can sell everything. We had, up until last week, we had a separate travel desk, but our travel guy is really sick, and so he's left indefinitely. So we just removed it. All our staff can sell all the things. We use Website Travel, which is an online booking site anyway. But I think when our marketing girl was here, it was really great. She tried loads of those packages, but no one wants them. They want this with that and this with that and all of this sort of thing. So it never worked out as selling just that. And we tried working holiday packages and all that sort of stuff. For us, it works better. And we want them to interact with us a bit at reception as well. So if they come and ask us about it, and staff can tell them and advise them, and then it's engaging them a bit more. So you do want them to come to reception with questions a little bit, and we don't want to just package it all up and say there you go.
You have some partnerships with some tour operators. Do you have some sort of? I won't do any formal partnership.
I like us to have flexibility to choose what we want to do and make sure that it's the right fit for our guests. It's important that it's the right fit. And we have people coming in and they say, we'll give you all these TVs if you just book our things, but it's not what we don't care about. I don't care about that because our guests might not want that. So it's up to them, but they want the best price or the trip that suits them or whatever. So we work really closely with a couple of companies just because their products are great. So Wildlife, and we have lots of sponsors that will sponsor that come to our barbecue, free barbecue a week, and they'll host it and offer free prizes, and we work closely with them. But I try and keep it really open rather than confining the market.
Could you tell us some of these companies?
So we really like Wildlife too. They're just a really good ethical company to work with. So and they have great trips. So they do Great Ocean Road, which all of them do. They do a good price, and they will give us a discounted price for the guests. So which is really important. Tax Back, some of the tax companies, Autopia, Onion Tours. We work with all of them. We just don't want to get tied formally, and we definitely never signed anything to say
Are you making something of that, like in terms of revenue? You get like
commission. So when you work through website travel, you get the asset commission which the agents offset. It's just a other bonus. It's certainly not enough to pay a wage for a travel desk. It never will be. It's just a customer service. You need to be able to sell stuff rather than saying, oh, actually you have to go around the corner to book your ticket for the aquarium, which is ridiculous. So we just make it as convenient for them as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. And with backpackers, actually, they don't want to be planned. They don't
gosh, yeah, and they're really lazy. They're really lazy, so they don't want to book anywhere. So if we can do it all here, then it's really good.
Yeah, I get that. And in terms of like support, like from when you were setting up, when the owners were setting up as well, like 6 years ago, did you change the name and stuff?
Yeah, it was Kui on St Kilda, I think that it was Kui anyway. We changed it to Habitat.
Why Habitat HQ?
Because the Habitat, the owners came to the business knowing that it would be an environmental business, and they wanted it to be a welcoming business. And create a home, which is your habitat for guests. So that was where it came from.
How important do you think Habitat is for St Kilda in terms of the people that are coming here, in terms of the occupancy and everything?
I think it's really important. I think that, I think it's really important. I think that I believe we create a different standard. St Kilda has a pretty bad rap, and there's some really terrible hostels in St Kilda along Grey Street that have lots of prostitutes and lots of locals staying in them. And when an international traveller comes and stays there, that's really bad for us as a community. Really bad for us. So we won the City of Port Phillip Business of the Year. Last year, and that's because we give back to the community. So we work with Eagles, and we've got bees here, so we produce our own honey, and the Eco Centre gives us the water to smoke the bees, and it's really important that you add to them. And they use our guests to do their environmental things, on the beach or with the penguins and stuff. And it's really important. And our guests go to the bars on nights, so they tell us what nights they're quiet, and we'll go, okay, well, we'll take some people there. So it's really, we support the community that way, I think. And our clientele are good, the backpackers have a really bad name. But, they're well educated, they've got lots of money, they might want to drink a lot, but they're good kids, they're not hooligans. So I think it's really important that the community knows that. Because there's stickers, I don't know whether you saw, there were stickers of getting around in St Kilda that had backpackers and stuff, and people were putting them on all the poles and everything, light posts and stuff. So the community doesn't quite love them as much as we do. No. And there was so I'm part of the St Kilda Tourism Board, and they did a marketing thing about what the visitor perceived St Kilda and what the locals perceived, what they loved about St Kilda. And what the locals hated about St Kilda was the backpackers. It's sad. Look at these guys, they're alright.
They chilled out. Do you get any sort of support from the Victorian government or from local?
Yeah, I work very closely with Diane Smith, Crosby Tourism, and Destination Melbourne. So they're really great. Only in the last few years have they really taken on board the industry. But Diane she's such a strong advocate for our industry. From the local council, even though we won Business of the Year,
And any support in terms of what kind of support, like funding or marketing support, nothing like that?
Any of that, no. There's no money.
No money
for it. But it's a start that they're advocating for our industry. I think that's a start, trying to not, to keep people aware of our industry. That's not a start. But as I said, Melbourne gets so much spent on it. It would be nice if, I know with St Kilda Tourism, it's so hard for them to get any funding from the council for marketing St Kilda. And St Kilda will die off if it doesn't have some financial support. There's shops closing down and all sorts of things. So it's really important that the council gets behind it.
Like, do you have any idea, like, because we couldn't find this information as to how much in St Kilda itself, what is, like, how much is the backpacker accommodation sector providing, like, economically? Do you have any sort of...
No, I don't have any views on that. No one cares enough to do anything. So maybe you guys have views on it.
Yeah, because
look, I think it would be huge. I know that our staff work at cafes around, which means that their friends from the hostels go and drink there, and the same with the bars, and I think that they would have a huge impact. And keeping the bars going during low season. If you go down Ackland Street in winter, it's dead. It's important that these guys will go to a bar on a Wednesday night because every day they go out on. So it's really important.
And you collect data for your guests, like any data, like so that you can get back to them, or like in terms of repeat visitation or something like that.
Well, we know that from our reservation system. We have a really great reservation system, which is very nice. So we know where they've come from, whether they're repeat clientele, where they've booked from. So I report on that weekly to the owner about and so I can track, because if I start seeing that hostel world bookings are increasing like this, I want to know why. What's happened? Is their word of mouth dropped, or have we had some really bad reviews, or and all of that. So I track all of that all the time. We also do guest surveys as well, just to find out what they're what they would like to see. So it's more of like, what more could we do for you? What do you care about? Do you care about breakfast? Would you like to do? What event would you like to see? That sort of thing we do a lot. But we track everything. I've got charts coming out everywhere, so I track everything on a daily basis over the last 6 years, so I can see where we're sitting from the last 6 years for this day.
There's a lot of research.
Yeah, it is. We spend a lot of time because it's really important. We don't want to just always want to be going this way. And it's interesting. The dips are always the same. They always follow.
What are the some of the dips, like why?
So after Easter, it always drops off. So that's why we do our low season initiative right then to keep it there. And it's after the holidays. Grand Prix, all the events are over, everything's done, there's the first 3 months of the year, there's so many events that we could be full 10 times over every day, and then all of a sudden all the events stop. It's cold in Melbourne, no one wants to be in Melbourne, it gets warm up north, and small things like having a cyclone up north will really sounds really terrible, but it's really good for us. It's really good because they go, we'll have to stay for another week before we go up, and you can see it. If that happens up there, you can see that our occupancy will stay really high, unusually high for that.
I just wanted a question about competitors.
About what?
About the competitors. Do you know anything about Airbnb? Do you have
so lots of backpacker businesses post Airbnb. There's certainly a lot of Airbnb things around St Kilda. There's a lot. But it's a different clientele for us, so I think that they should be regulated because the council is so tough on us. They come in and we're a really great business, so we make sure everything is above board and we do everything to the right standard. But they come in and they go, this, are you for real? You have to spend all this time and money doing this new thing that you've never heard of, whereas those people can operate without any of that. So that's the only thing that annoys me a little bit. There should be some sort of, even playing field. But I don't think I've booked Airbnb for myself and my family when we're going to Japan, and that's a different experience. We don't want to. We're going as a family. We want to be in a unit, an apartment by our own. So I think I think Airbnb is good. I wish I had thought of it. It's a really good business model. It's a really, and I don't think it'll threaten us as this type of hostel. I think if we were just private rooms and that sort of thing, then maybe you would be more worried about it. And some hostels I think they've put some beds on Airbnb. I don't know how they're going. And we've toyed with the idea because you pay 3% commission. At 3%, it's like, wow, cheap. So maybe for your private rooms we could do something like that. But I don't feel threatened by them, but I wish that they were more regulated.
Okay. In terms of revenue, do you get more revenue from your dorms, or it's like in terms of revenue space?
I wish we could get what we get for our private rooms, for our dorm rooms every night, but our dorm rooms are full all the time, so that keeps the business going, and the privates are like this really generous top up for it, I think, like the cream.
Do you get families and stuff as well staying here?
Yeah, in the private rooms, yeah, we do. We have such a range of demographics, so we have older couples staying here that are just wanting to have a different experience in the hotel room, because sometimes our privates are $180 a night, so they're not cheap. So they're paying a decent amount of money, but they just want a slightly different experience. And yeah, we get families. But our rooms are only can only have 2 kids in them, so and they can't be in dorm rooms, so they can only be in the private rooms. We don't have children in the dorm rooms at all.
Yeah. And the families are like traditionally international as well?
Yeah, we get lots of like Italian and French families coming through, and they're so good. Like with really young kids, like they're so brave traveling with young kids. It's beautiful. I love it. It's really nice, and the guests really enjoy it as well. It's like memories from home with their families and things. It's good. It's like having the dog. The guests really like it. It makes it homely and stuff. It's not a hindrance, and because we're not a massive get really drunk all the time kind of hostel, it's an okay atmosphere to have your children in. You know what I mean? So we don't have people dancing on tables. Being really drunk, maybe the kids, but you know what I mean? So it's a good environment for everyone. I bring my kids here all the time. I love it.
And like you had mentioned this earlier, so it's primarily 25 plus, like your main target, like 25 plus. Going all the way up to...
Yeah, we've had 80-year-olds staying here. Yeah, we have got an old couple staying, an older couple staying here at the moment. They're so cute. And then people come for different reasons. They might have their daughter who lives down around this area, so they're staying here. It's close to them, or they're here for an event or something like that.
Okay. Anything else on this idea? Thank you so much for your time.
That's all right. The owner's here at the moment, so I might have to.
So just 4 main questions. Like, what do you think are the main strengths? Like, if one was to like classify the main strengths of your backpacker, which are internal to you, like what do you see?
I like our core values. So it's really important that we're ethical. We're environmental conscious. We really respect the staff, and we respect our customers. They're really important.
And in terms of when you look at other hostels, like what do you think gives you the edge?
I'm such a snob. I think we're so much better than all the hostels.
Like a few reasons as to why if you were to...
Because I think that we come at it from an ethical point of view rather than a money-making point of view. We don't... Obviously, you want to make money because we have to pay wages and that, but we invest a lot of money into the business on wages and on a better experience. It's expensive to be environmental here in Australia. All our lighting and all our shower heads and that all cost so much more than the average. So,
basics, your strengths.
So I think that core value that we have of who we are is a lot different than a lot of other hostels. So a lot of hostels will base their business around their bar because you make so much money from a bar, and I think that's a really easy way of running a business. It's a really easy way of running it because you just make money, and that's good, but it's not what we're about at all. we want to make money because why have a business if you don't?
Yeah.
But we want to do it that feels right for us. So ethically, I love watching the staff grow while they're here and learning more and engaging in the industry and that sort of thing. And the owner does that as well. I have been on leadership courses with Tourism Victoria. And he actively promotes us to all do those things. So I think that's really different. We hire local staff, we don't hire just backpackers because we want really great customer service. So we don't want, we care about what they say at reception, we care about what they do, we care about our housekeeping team. We care that they feel they're doing a really valuable part of it. I think that's what sets us aside. And we have a good product. I think we have a good product. I think we have good events. And as I said, they cost us money. They don't necessarily make us money, but they're good. They're good events for the guests. And we want to we care about what we're showing to an international visitor of Melbourne and St. So we care about that. We care that they like us.
And does being bang in St. Kilda, the location, does that add value in terms of, do you think being in St. Kilda is a plus or a minus as a hostel in Victoria?
Look, I think it's harder in St. Kilda and we are not in a good location at all. To be quite honest, when you look at it, if you look what's behind us, it's great. But we're on St. Kilda, we're on the main road, so that's certainly, and I think it's a credit to us that we've managed to work around that and that not become an issue. You know what I mean? Like people don't say, "Oh, you're in such a crap location." People don't say that. So we're always about positive talking about where we are. We can catch a tram to the city. It's easy and all that. So that's really important. But the city is easy to be full. Like the hostel I ran in the city had 550 beds, and it was we didn't have to work hard to be full during.
How many beds do you have?
We only have 250. So we're a small hostel. I think it's in summer. People want to be in summer. So again, we don't work as hard in summer to be full as we do this time of year. So no, I wish people knew about St. Kilda more. And things like, this is what annoys me, like on TripAdvisor, so they won't, we're classed as St. Kilda, but people when they search Melbourne, they don't search St. Kilda. It drives me crazy. And we've spoken to TripAdvisor about it many times. They couldn't care less, to be quite honest. You know, we've given them examples of New York or London. London covers so many cruises, but here it doesn't. And we're number one, but we're in St. Kilda in a specialty category. It's crazy, you know. It's tough. So things like that are tough. Whereas the city, you're in the city. But for comparison, working in these areas, I like the enjoyment here is better.
And in terms of if you were to mention a few weaknesses, apart from your location, could you think of a couple of weaknesses that your company of the place?
I don't know weaknesses. I think that we need to keep evolving. So I think that at the moment we're just going through plans to redo this area and find out what more we can add. So I think that that's something we need to keep growing and growing rather than just saying, we've won all these awards, we're doing really well, this is it. We need to think, okay, well, because there's going to be something newer and better coming along soon, you know, in the space of building a hostel in St. Kilda. But they'll have water views and we can't compete with that. So, you know, and we, in the Australian Tourism Award, we got silver, and we came second to YHA in the Rocks, Sydney. So I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but I stayed there, and when you're in their room, you look at the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House, and how can you ever compete against that? Anyway, So we're always looking at we're never going to have the location to make us the best hostel in Australia.
Yeah.
So what else can we do? What can we do better? And certainly in the last 2 years, I've tried to promote our environmental side to the guests more, because we were environmental for the whole time and carbon neutral for many years, but no one knew. In fact, some of the staff didn't even know when I first started here. Some of the staff didn't even know we were carbon neutral. It's ridiculous. So I think keep on promoting that, and I think that's something that we can learn how to do more. Is the environmental part is really important to us. How do we promote that to an international traveller and make it sound fun and that they want to come and stay here because of it? That's a hard
Primarily Europe, because they're big on the environment.
The Europeans
Germany
are so more
stuff,
advanced than we are. Absolutely. It was a harder adaptation for housekeeping staff for some of the processes we're doing for our garbage than the customers all know. They mostly, Europeans, like you say, they know what to do. They know which bins to put things in and stuff.
Yeah, we have everything.
Yeah.
For everything. You can't just throw anything.
Yeah, but our housekeeper, in charge of housekeeping, when I told her this is what we're doing, she went, oh my gosh. We have to. That's what we have to do. It takes more time, but
in terms of external to the business, for your company and for backpacking, do you see any opportunities in the next 3 to 5 years, which could help your business more, whether to market differently or how to look at the business?
I think the market's changing towards more of that flash packer, but truly space kind of travel. I think that it's really going towards that, and it'll be interesting to see where the Chinese market comes into its own with this industry. I think that within the next 5 years there'll be a huge change in that for even for a business like us. I think that there will be backpackers and that sort of thing that are coming from China more and more. I think.
Yeah, I know. Maybe there are some difference between Chinese demands and European demands. But for me, from my perspective, I think your hostel is very amazing. Yeah, I really like this interesting stuff and friendly stuff. And I think how should I say? You can expand the Chinese market and catering our demands. For me, they are also interesting.
But what would your demands be as far as that sort of clientele? What sort of expectation would you have coming into a business like ours?
Social interaction is also the most important point, and
their local culture, because the Chinese really want to know the
local
European
culture,
and we don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So if you want to stay in a local hotel like backpacker, you want to know anything like local people, what they will do, what they want to eat, what they want to stay, or anything.
So what do you think, because I think in this area in St Kilda the Chinese market is much less than the city. Why is that? Is that because Melbourne is promoted only as Melbourne, or why is there that difference, do you think? I don't know. Every time we go to conferences they go, the Chinese market has done this, but it hasn't for us, and we're not advertising for it, but we're not advertising against it. We're not.
I think the big barrier is still language differences.
Language and primarily a lot of marketing promotes Melbourne as it's a lot of Fed Square and a lot of laneways and that's what's promoted on
We've got graffiti.
But in terms of I'm talking about I come from India. When you see tourism Australia campaigns or whatever, you don't really see much of other places. Or
you see Great Ocean Road.
Yeah, you see Great Ocean and the city, because Victoria is primarily CBD. Phillip Island for the penguins. St Kilda, you can actually see them up closer. People don't know that.
That's right.
You can actually see them up closer. But it's primarily Phillip Island, Great Ocean Road in Melbourne when they market Melbourne to international audiences. So it's probably a lack of awareness as well, because like we were going through the IDS and between Taiwan, Hong Kong, and China. Like the market's just
I know.
up,
I know that the amount of visitors that are coming to Melbourne are
for
astronomical.
backpacking,
But they're not here. They're not in St Kilda. So even the other hostels in this area aren't getting that.
any.
So the city is packed. I know that Greenhouse in Flinders Lane, they're 80%, Taiwanese, Korean, Japanese.
And there are a lot of people who are who want this product now, actually, because the view we have is of this one culture and one people who want the same thing. It's not as like even for like India, because it's an equally.
Yeah, I mean you're the same as us. You've got different types of travellers. I from my point of view, I feel that the backpacking is not as sophisticated for the Chinese market as it is for Europeans and that. You know,
Like what I would say is like considering your social media, like now that could be a way that you could tap into the market, because you're not getting the funding as such and the level of, because it is a good way of getting into something. Like even if you have one visitor and he really has a good time, you will tell 3 other people. Maybe like a little more activity on that to cater to that market could work. Maybe not, because it doesn't cost a lot. Like at the end of the day. So, and another thing, last like in terms of threats, like apart from this backpacker tax and the changes, do you see any threats, external threats to your hostel, like for your business? Yeah.
No, not really. It's just that, I mean, things like the dollar and all of that affects people coming here, whether they can afford to come here. And certainly, when it was really high, people were dying. They travel through Asia to get here. And like, oh my God, it's so expensive. It's so expensive. And the wages are, even though we've chosen to pay above award, but we pay penalties in that, and the government does grand final as a public holiday. That's ridiculous. It costs us so much money. My staff are getting paid, $50 an hour to work there. It's exorbitant for a business with such a fine profit margin. So things like that are really, so these government things that are government-controlled things that are a threat to us, rather than Airbnb and other hostels and that. I think that the government has a bigger influence on us than anything else.
Anything else?
I'm wondering, how do you attract Japanese and Korean backpackers?
I don't know. That's what I like. I think that's. As I said in the city in the hostel, we didn't do anything to attract them, but we had lots of that clientele. Lots. Here we don't do anything to attract them, but we don't have any. But we do have our welcome cards written in Chinese, and we do have all of that here. I don't know. I think it's something about the area that we need to promote.
Can Japanese and Korean engage in your every events in every night?
Yeah, and it's not. We certainly don't segregate. It's just the event happens on the stage, and people gather, and it's up to them to participate. So we don't.
Yeah, because I think their language also different. Different. So I just want to know if they can engage in your.
I see what you're saying. So some of our events that would be difficult because they're maybe trivia events where the language barrier would be very difficult for that sort of game. But some of them are just bingo, where it's just numbers. Or music, we have lots of live music and open mic where they can sing and stage. You don't need to speak English to sing really badly.
So why don't you have any other languages on your website?
No, because we've just rebuilt the new website, and the product that we use, or the designer used, you can't. It's not accepting the multi-languages, so...
Because your booking system is multilingual.
That's right, but the booking system is linked through SiteLoader, Channel Manager, so... but our new website, it's literally only been released about 2 weeks ago, and he was on our last one, was bilingual, you could get it changed, and he can't get it to work, so We had 7 different languages that it should be able to translate to, and you can't get it to do it. So it's, that's a problem. But that's really only been the last few weeks that it's been like that. But prior to that, it was. This is a brand new website, completely reconstructed. Would be French, Italian, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and what the other two? German. I think we have German as well, and South American, Spanish. I think they're the main ones.
Any South American backpackers?
A little bit. The American backpacker has picked up a little bit. It's still a really small part of our market, but that's certainly increased. South America, there are some, but not so many. I know that it's a huge market for us to go there. Lots of our staff have gone there, outbound. They maybe don't have the finances so much.
And do you think with the falling dollar, has it improved like over the past year?
You would think, but no, not particularly. It's just not. That's not. I don't think that's it.
But you have to try occupancy rates in general.
That's right. So it's hard. Well, we're tracking it daily. So we're tracking. So I know that I might be 5 beds off from what I was last year. So that's.
Would you mind sending us some of the data?
I can't send you any of that sort of stuff, but I can send you certainly like the percentage of countries, who ranks where.
Whatever.
I can send you that. I can't send any of that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Maybe something also like a guest staff ratio.
Oh, guest staff
ratio.
Just whatever info you can share with us.
Yeah, country wise, and I'll send you the chart that
Perfect, that would be.
you can have a look at that. And I'll send you a list of the top sites that we've booked through.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'll rank them in the most important.
Yeah, that would be great. You have Jess's email, you can send it. Thank you so much.
That's all right. That's okay.
Does anybody have anything else to ask?
Can you say this?